All right. Good morning or good afternoon. About to do a chiropractic adjustment on this roping horse here. He's used for team roping. And I haven't worked on him before, so this is going to be a brand new thing for him. Was a little nervous at first when I came up to his stall, put his head over for a little bit and let me scratch the tip of his muzzle. But then when I went to scratch his face, he kind of ran to the other side of the stall. So I'll just take my time and see how he does and adjust what I can. He's definitely rotated on this left side of his pelvis into flexion rather. So this side of his pelvis is palpating like it's high, and as they bring that leg forward, the pelvis at the SI joint rotates up and back, or what we call posterior. We call it posterior inferior (PI). And a pelvis that's PI is one that is stuck in flexion on that side, as if that leg on that side is coming forward, even when they're square. So you can probably see that his feet are square right now, but this side of his pelvis right here is palpating like that leg is coming forward. So you can imagine if when the feet are square and the pelvis is palpating like it's not square, how that would throw off their movement. So if his feet are squared and his pelvis on one side is palpating like it's coming forward on that left side, then when he actually comes forward on that left side, he doesn't have the range of motion at the SI joints to do that. So he'll be short coming forward on that side, or you'll also notice that he's short in extension on the opposite side. So when I find a pelvis, a lot of people say it's a twisted pelvis. It's not twisted. It's just stuck in flexion on the left and extension on the right. And so what we do is we adjust the opposite direction. So I have a left-sided pelvis that's stuck in flexion, so I'm going to adjust it down and forward into extension to try to even out that SI joint from left to right. So, and I do that a couple of different ways. First way I like to do it is just to use these pressure points. And you can use these pressure points to bring him down and recheck, and he's still high. And then you can flex the pelvis so it lifts the back up like this, right? So you can flex them like that and bring the back up, or extend at the pelvis and bring the back down. And a lot of people will go, oh my goodness, he's sore. Ooh. And even the customers will go, ooh, that hurts. And it's not a pain response. It's just a reflex. It's kind of like when you go to the doctor for a physical and they hit your knee with a hammer, right? And they hit your patellar tendon and the lower leg swings out like you're kicking something all on its own. It's the same thing with these. So, and because of that, the more responsive they are, the better. That's good. I don't want to have to sit there and dig, because then that means they have a decreased response to those pressure points. And if they have a decreased response to the pressure points, they're going to have a decreased response under saddle. So if I can get those things feeling better and moving faster, then you're going to have a horse that performs better. Ooh, there we go. So that was a nice little SI adjustment. And I like to use the point of the hips to adjust the SI joint rather than getting up high on these blocks that you see people standing on and adjusting up here. And you can do it either way. I don't suggest that you do that. You can stretch your horses all you want, but I wouldn't do adjustments if you're not trained to do them, because you can actually make them worse. If you adjust the wrong direction, you can make their misalignment worse than it already is. Oh, thanks, Amanda. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's my favorite thing about what I do is saying that relief is into this, because I really wanted to work on horses. I'm sorry, I really wanted to work on dogs. I had a human practice in Colorado, and I went to the animal chiropractic course because I wanted to be able to adjust dogs in my office a couple times a week. And when you get certified as an animal chiropractor, you learn on horses so you can adjust large animals, and then you learn on dogs so you can adjust the small animals. And I didn't have much experience on horses. When I saw how much it helped the horses and how much it relaxed them, it just blew my mind. Because when you adjust the dog, dogs are predatory. You adjust the dog, they get more mental. When you adjust the horse, they get more quiet and they get more relaxed. And that was more my speed. And I just didn't expect it. So when I saw that response, and also, I was kind of skeptical when I went to the program on the horse side, because I'm just like, man, how much can a person, a fraction of the size of a horse, actually help them? So going in there with that skeptical eye, and then seeing how much it actually helps, just really, really opened my eyes, and I kind of just did that's what I wanted to do. Well, yeah, that's a quick response. Any chiros in Virginia? Pink hippie. I may know of someone. If you search for a chiropractor named Matty Leto, Mattie, and the last name is Leto. I think he's in Virginia, and he would be an excellent option if he's there. Otherwise, the best thing you can do is just to go on to animalchiropractic.org or those are the two certifying animal chiropractic agencies in the world. And you can search by state and then see who's in your area. And I wouldn't really use anybody that's not on one of those two sites, but once you find somebody, I would go on there, go on Facebook or Instagram and see if you can find their social media and just see what they do. And I'm happy to review them for you too. If you'd like, you just shoot me a message and let me know who you want me to take a look at, and I can see if I'd recommend them or not. Ooh, there we go. Nice release right there. Did you guys hear that little release on that one? Okay, thanks for joining. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching the live. If you don't mind giving it a thumbs up, I greatly, greatly appreciate it. And also, if you wouldn't mind sharing it, that would be awesome. So whenever I get a release in the neck with these shoulder pressure points, I like to go back both directions one more time, just to make sure that we don't get any more of those and that they're free and clear in the neck. So I'm going to see if he'll come around and touch my hand at his shoulder one more time. Whoa. Good boy. Snap around. There we go. Perfect. So you can see his hesitancy there. But there's a difference between him being hesitant because of a physical issue and a mental one. And with him, I feel like he just wants to kind of keep an eye on me. And if I'm asking him to go around to the other side, that means he has to take his eyes off me. So you can see him kind of hesitate, and then go back around real quick and snap his head back to keep his eyes on me. Yeah, you bet. Anything else I can do, just let me know. I'm happy to help. That was good. And I'm going to have him come back to the right shoulder one more time. And you can see he's not as hesitant with this one. So, excellent. But you can see his ears are back, so he's really paying attention to me. And then he brings his head around to the shoulder and snaps his head back so he can keep an eye on me. So he has really nice range of motion, and I'm not worried about any type of pain or discomfort there. especially because of how he greeted me at the stall. I think he just wants to kind of keep a watchful eye. And like I said, this is the first time I've worked on him, so he doesn't really know me all that well. So I don't blame him. Boy, you just got to kind of work with that anxiety or nervousness they have, and don't force anything. Take your time and try to build that support, and then eventually they'll know you're trying to help them, and they'll and they'll relax. Thank you, Nina. I appreciate that very much. I think it's just a matter of getting them to trust you, building that rapport. You know, I think they understand. If you're there to help them or not, and at least the smart ones. And as I go along and work on them, I'm always rubbing them and scratching them, and it really serves two purposes. One, while I'm rubbing them, I'm actually evaluating their spine. Like in this case, I'm checking for sensitivity, any type of trigger points, any type of arthritis, but at the same time, I'm doing it in a way that feels good to them. So even though I'm evaluating, I'm not poking and prodding in a way that's uncomfortable. And then to them, it's almost like they're just getting pet. So it just builds that trust a little bit more. Okay, stop. Hey Morgan, thanks for watching from New York. Wow, 17. Yeah, it's phenomenal for dogs. I've just seen so many crazy things happen with dogs. Like I had a guy in Colorado and he carried the dog in from his truck. Apparently, the dog couldn't get in and out of the truck, and he puts him down on the floor in the office while he's filling out his paperwork. And the dog's just kind of sitting there with his legs tossed to the side, didn't move the whole time. So the guy proceeds to tell me that the dog was fine, just he was just his normal self. And then the next day, just the next day, he wouldn't use his back legs. Like he would kind of pull himself with his front legs across the ground, and his back legs would just kind of hang there. And typically that's indicative of a disc injury, a low back disc injury. Um, and it was so severe. It was almost like the dog was paralyzed. Like it was just not. The legs were dead. They weren't doing anything. And I told him I really didn't think I could help it, but I'll do what I can. And I got the dog up and was palpating its spine. And I like to pick the dogs up by their back legs, kind of holding underneath the knees, underneath the stifle, to just lift them up. And I just kind of move their legs like they're riding a bicycle, back and forth, just like this. And I took both his legs and I just rotated him back like this, boom, to try to get his SI joints to release. And there was this huge pop, and he yelped, and I put him down. I just put him down to give him a break and then go on to my next thing. But I set him down, he pops up on his back legs and just starts walking around the office like no big deal. Like it was absolutely incredible. And that was one of the most profound adjustments I've ever had, horse or dog, just to see something like that. And, ever since then, I've just, really come to realize how beneficial it is. Absolutely, Jay. Chiropractic has a bad reputation in part due to the American Medical Association and the hit they had out on the chiropractic profession back in the 80s, 70s, and 80s. And, they did such a good job of turning people off to chiropractic care that, it's still considered, pseudoscience or, snake oil that people like to call it. But a lot of those people that, that don't believe it are just scared because of the propaganda that was put out by the AMA. And now the AMA is recommending chiropractic care, but the general public still remembers all the warnings that they gave 30 years ago, 40 years ago. But chiropractic care is very, 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 very safe. And the way you can verify that is just to look at the insurance premiums and check our insurance rates versus a primary care doctor. They're paying tens of thousands of dollars a year for their malpractice insurance, and we pay $1,200. We pay $100 a month. I pay $100 a month, and I work on people and animals. So if the insurance rates are where you want to look at, so if I'm paying $100 a month, it's like your car insurance. It's like they don't want to question their own beliefs sometimes, and that's fine. They'll eventually come around and hopefully become believers, and believers is a good one. I've had many, many people get on my table that wouldn't have otherwise because they saw the changes in their animals. And I love that about working on animals. You can change people's minds like that. And then they get up and they go, oh my gosh. Like they just can't believe how good they feel right away. And then people will say, well, I don't want to get adjusted because once I start going, I have to go forever. It's like, well, you get your teeth cleaned forever, right? You get your teeth cleaned every 6 months to maintain your teeth, but you're not going to maintain your spine? I mean, that's just absolutely crazy. It's like if you go and get something done and it feels good and it helps you feel better and function better, why wouldn't you want to keep doing that? But you always have the option of quitting. You have to keep going. So, anyway, that's my soapbox. I'll hop off. Yeah, that's very true. A lot of people who have horses that do and then they have a bad experience, end up selling their horses, they just get frustrated and stop riding. Good boy. But this guy's a rope horse, he's a working horse. So, a lot of times the roping horses, they just want to do their job and kind of be left alone. So they can be a little bit more challenging to work on. Oh, good boy. And a lot of them, they get bought and sold so much and they just don't get any TLC. They get their feet done, and they get their shots and all that. But they don't get adjusted, stretched, manual wave, anything. And then all of a sudden they get to the right owner and he says, yeah, we got to get him adjusted and take care of him. And they're like, what is this? And it takes them a little bit of time to relax and enjoy it. But, and you can see him, he's a little hesitant, but he's coming along. Good boy. With all the crap that we do to them, as far as veterinary stuff, they're always getting stuff in their mouth, stuff in other orifices. They get tubes shoved up their nose, and they get medicine, like paste in their mouth, and shots, and vaccinations, and all kinds of stuff. So it's no wonder that they're on edge, until they learn how to trust you. Good boy. But it doesn't take them very long, thank goodness. So I appreciate you guys watching, and if you have any questions about what I'm doing, or a lot of people ask me how to become an animal chiropractor. Love answering questions like that. And if anybody is interested in having me come out to them to work on their horses, I do travel quite a bit, so you can let me know that as well, and I can give you those details. And if you want to learn how to do some of these stretches like this one I'm doing right now for the shoulder, you can go to the link in my info. I don't know if it's my YouTube. Yeah, I think the link's in my YouTube profile. Or just go to sporthorsechiropractic.com. And I have an entire equine stretching course on there. I teach you how to stretch everything from their neck to their legs to their pelvis, pressure points, and manual stretches. So if you want to learn how to do some things to help your horses feel good, help warm them up, you can check that out. Had a lot of good feedback on that boy. I think I'm gonna create one for dogs as well. Actually, I was in Alaska this summer working on horses for about a week. If you know Jeanette Cooley, she's the one that put everything together this year, and I'm pretty sure I'll be back next year as well. What kind of events do you do up there? Barrel racer, I'm assuming? I'm going to do his back legs here. Yeah, nice and straight across the top. I'm sure you guys can see that. See how he's nice and level here. So before, this side was up, so it was rotated like this coming back. And I have been, but the only times I've been kicked, I feel like it's been my own fault. Either I wasn't standing in the right position, or the horse had been, throwing me a bunch of signals that they didn't like what I was doing, and I was either being stubborn because I wanted to help it, or I just missed the signals they were throwing at me, or a combination of those things. Uh-oh. Okay, good. Oh, thank you. Thank you for that. Or a combination of those things. So I don't know if you guys are like that. So, I was just saying that. I have, but not terrible, not bad. One time, it hurt enough that the discomfort stuck around for a couple of weeks, but that got me right in the kneecap, so it was unpleasant. But I think the times that that's happened, it's really been my fault because the horses, they give you a lot of clues if they're not happy with what you're doing. They give you a lot of warnings, plenty of time to correct what you're doing so they don't kick. And I think a lot of the time when people get kicked, they just are either not paying attention to those signs or they just miss them. Or like in my case, I'm just stubborn. And even though they're doing that, I still have things that I'm trying to do for them to help them. And I just keep trying to push forward and help them as much as I can. And sometimes they just don't want it, and you got to listen to that. Otherwise, you put yourself in dangerous situations like that. So, or and the other reason that you would get kicked if you're not standing in a safe position. So you want to stay out of this area right here, right? Almost like 45 degrees off their hind end. So I stay out of this area right here, so that if they fire, I'm not going to be in the line of fire. I'm going to be a little bit forward. What you got to watch out for is the cow kick, which they can do, and they kind of they bring their foot forward like this, and they kick out to the side like that. So that one, oh, there we go. That was a heavy cough release there. So you just gotta keep safety in mind at all times. Someone named Jeanette Cooley, she's a racer. She put a bunch of horses together for me as a clinic, and it was awesome.